Hey folks, JP Stone here, and today you can see we're playing Take on Mars. Now, see, I got a little bored playing Kerbal Space Program, but I still wanted to stick with the space theme, so I decided to give this a shot. I've been hearing a little bit about it, and now that it's out for PC, I figured why not give it a go? Oh, and look, there's a satellite flying over Mars. So this is the launcher screen here, but it's actually a map. You can move and look around Mars. And if you have ever seen the movie or read the book for that matter, The Martian, you'll see on here, should be close to around, there it is, Schiaparelli crater. Of course, that is where Mark Watney had to get to in order to take the spacecraft that he was able to use to get back into Mars orbit and then get back home. Well, I should have said spoiler alert. Sorry. Hopefully you did see that movie and I didn't spoil too much for you. I don't know what that satellite flying around is, but hey, just a little quick factoid there. Anyways, let's play the game. So I have already started a space program, so we'll go into my saved game here. Now I'm in the beginning stages of the space program, and let me apologize. My voice is a little raspy. I've had a little bit of a cold, and so if my voice sounds a little cracky and raspy, that's why. But just a quick apology there. Press any key to continue. And here we are in our mission control center for Mars X, which is our, company we work for. And up here is our current budget. We have $573,000 currently in our budget to explore Mars. In front of us is our desk, and these three cameras here are showing three live feeds from probes and landers we have on Mars currently from previous missions. But now we need to launch a new mission. So first I'll explain how the technology system works here in this game. So this is the tech tree for Take on Mars. And the green things are things that I have already researched. The red boxes are things that I don't have enough money to research, but still need to research. And the yellow boxes are ones that I need to research, could research, and also can afford. But it also costs money to launch missions, so you have to kind of balance out, do you want to launch a mission or do you want to research? Because if you spend all your money on research, then you won't have any money to launch missions, right? But you do get money for launching missions, or for doing research rather on the missions that you launch, which I will demonstrate to you momentarily. But first, a little bit more about the tech tree. So the way this game works is you have two choices when you start your game. You can play it in real time, meaning when you go to, let's say if I wanted to research X-ray sensor firmware right now, research time is 15 hours, 30 minutes. So if I clicked research, I would have to wait 15 hours and 30 minutes with no time warp. This is if you choose to play real time. And there's no time warp, so I wouldn't be able to use the X-ray sensor firmware for 15 hours no matter what. And so I would have to wait that long, right? I just wouldn't be able to use it. But that is in real time. So even if you turn the game off and then come back 15 and a half hours later and turn the game back on, then the research will be done. That item will become available to you. Well, if you play in what they call the game time mode, you do get time warp ability, but the time doesn't tick down if the game's not running. So if you choose not to time warp, then it's 15 hours of gameplay time. So, of course you're going to time warp. So that's, I don't know why they... Well, I guess they give you the choice, because either you can play like hardcore mode, like, I'm just going to go all in and I'm not going to be able to use that sensor array till 15 hours and give it more like of a realistic feeling where, you don't just instantly get all these, advanced technologies, even if you can afford them, or you can just get them instantly, which that's what I've been doing. I do play in game time mode. If I decide it's too easy later on, I will change that. But for now, that's what I'm going to stick with. On the side here, you just have a list of items, and it just basically tells you what you have and that you don't have, so you don't have to scroll all the way through the tech tree like I just did to see that. You press T to go back to the main screen here. There's, I think, only one other thing, well, two other things to show here is our Mars Encyclopedia. Now, you'll see a lot of this stuff is incomplete. Some of it is because it's kind of cool as you complete missions and do research. See, it says no information available, no information available. But as you do missions and do research, you actually start to populate. So basically, you're starting off at a point in the game where you know nothing about Mars, and the more research you do, and the more missions you do, and the more exploration you do, and the more experiments you do, the more you learn about Mars, which actually adds it to what they call the Mars Wiki here in the game. And then just behind that screen, you can click on the big screen there, the mission control screen, I guess you would call it. And this gives you your mission map, I guess I would call it, where you can choose your missions. So you have Mars orbit, which all missions in this location have been completed. I think there's a few that say that, actually quite a few, especially if Mars isn't the only celestial body in this game. They now have Deimos, which I believe does have a mission or two, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, Deimos does have missions, but they also have Earth, which does not have any missions that you can complete on it. Europa, which does not have any missions you can complete on it. The moon, Earth's moon, which again does not have any missions you can complete on it. And main asteroid belt, which you can pay $500,000 to unlock. I mean, not literally $500,000 real money, but game money to unlock. And then we're back to Mars. I think the ones that say no missions available are just kind of Bohemia Interactive, the developer of this game, kind of created those and then left those open for modders to come in and maybe create missions or mission packs for them, similar to what Kerbal Space Program did with their expansion pack, where they kind of opened it up to say, hey, if you want to create a bunch of like missions or scenarios and then upload them for other people to play. And they do have a system in place built into the game to do that. They have an editor in the menu to be able to do that if you so desire. But the main game is to send missions to Mars. So that's what we're going to do right now. So Kaiser Crater was where I've been concentrating mostly, and I've done most of the research here already. So I'm going to choose a different location. Let's see, Victoria Crater. So I have a probe on Victoria Crater, but there's still plenty of stuff to do in Victoria Crater. So we can go to the map here, and then you can move around the map. You can scroll into the map, scroll out of the map. So basically it's just an overhead like satellite view of the area of interest there for the scientists. And then, and then you can actually click on the more specific area of interest and click on mission details, and it'll tell you what specific mission needs to be accomplished there. In the case of this one, it's just to explore it and report back that what's there. There's other ones that want you to do some specific analysis or other of certain things, whether it be the soil or the atmosphere or whatnot. But we'll just do a quick exploration mission just so I can show you. But before that, let me actually show you one other thing. So the other component to this game is actually building the vehicles that you then can send to Mars or to the other celestial bodies that are included in the game. But first we have to go through decontamination, because we cannot send contaminated vehicles into space. All right, here we are in the clean construction facility. We just click on this mat here, or we can just click on construction. And then we can go to create new. And then we can click on all, and these are the two chassis types we have available to us now, at least that we can afford. We can either pick a probe or we can pick a lander. So let's pick a small lander and select chassis. And okay, every time you pick a chassis, there's certain requirements that you have to meet in order to make it a viable spacecraft. So we need antennas, cameras, and a power source or power sources. So first, let's do antennas. So we only have one antenna now. I believe the low gain antenna, so we can grab that. And also here you can kind of filter. So like if we had a bunch of antennas or it was all mixed up in there, I could just click that. Oh, antennas there. Where's antennas? There we go. So we only have one antenna, low gain antenna, and the green boxes that just lit up there, those are the two slots that will accept the antenna. You can pick either one of them. Just click on it. Sorry, I know I'm sniffly. I apologize. And there's our antenna there. So next one, we need cameras. So we click on cameras here. And we'll just go ahead and put a cycloramic telefocus and a cycloramic wide angle right on there on the front of the lander. And then we also need power. So we can click on, this would be power, put a couple of basic batteries in there. That's all we need. I think that should do it. That should satisfy. We could also put some science on here if we wanted. We could put an environmental analysis station, but that's really not necessary since all we're doing is trying to explore, analyze. But you can attach various, like we also have a robotic arm here, so I could attach a robotic arm onto there. But you can see each item you put onto there costs more money. So the more stuff you put onto the lander, the more money it costs to launch it. And then after you're done designing and building your vehicle, you can actually test it first before you take it to Mars, and what they call the Mars yard. So we can press test vehicle, and it puts us into what would be considered, I guess, well, I don't think it rains on Mars, at least not that I know of. But this is supposed to be like the Mars analog, and I'll give you a quick outside view here. So once we get vehicles and stuff, we'll actually be able to like drive them around here just to test them out and make sure they can handle the terrain. But for now, all we have is a lander, and all a lander does is just sit there, and that's what it looks like. We'll try to get that to stay still from the outside. Just like a table with cameras on it, and then antenna. Go back inside, and then we can just pan the cameras. And once we get to Mars, I'll kind of explain more about what all these other thingamabobs do here. But for now, just showing you that you can test the vehicle. And you'll see things like this pop up on Mars too. Those are just like points of interest, like when it's a symbol with a camera like that, it's telling you, it's basically NASA telling you, we want you to take a picture of this. And then you can choose between your different cameras here. So we have the telephoto camera, we have the wide angle camera. See those dots there are basically points between which they want like a panoramic photo. And then to take the picture to snap, it'll tell you far. I think if it says far, it basically means that that's too far away. And since these cameras don't have any zoom on them, we're not going to be getting any good pictures of that. Anyways, back to mission control, or back to construction control, I guess. We'll save this. We'll just say save as lander 0. All right. So now that we have designed our vehicle, we're going to send to Mars. We just exit construction. And then we go back, which will take us right back to the control center. And it's raining inside. Oh my God, there's a leak in the building. Somebody call maintenance. Glitch. All right. Well, while somebody calls maintenance, we're going to launch a Mars mission. Oh man, it's going to destroy that nice mission control screen is going to get all wet. It's horrible. Anyways, so where are we going? Victoria Crater, yes. So we'll just pick one of these spots. Mission details, exploration. So do we have enough cash to launch Probe 0? Or Lander 0? No, we should, yes. All right, so we are going to launch Lander 0 there. So what do? We just hit launch, and now it lets us fine tune. It's still raining inside. Jeez, that was some downpour. We can fine tune our landing spot. So let's say, and I think later on in the game, you get like scanners and satellite images or satellite scans and stuff that will give you more detail about the areas of interest, so you can kind of better decide where you might want to land to get the most interesting information. Now you can either have black and white terrain, which kind of gives you a better idea of the terrain. So obviously this is all flat and there's a big crater right there. Or you could do colored terrain where it's colored, where the green is obviously flat, the yellow is a steep decline, and then the red is just like a deep indentation that's obviously lower than the green. And then hazards. So I guess those would be like boulders or anything like fall, like any kind of like drop off, stuff like that might damage a vehicle, so you can avoid any hazards. So we could actually land over here if we wanted to. So this little teardrop thing, it just basically points to the center of the circle where they want you to investigate, but it doesn't mean you actually have to land there. But I usually try to land as close to the center as possible with landers, at least for right now. Doesn't look like we have any hazards that would impede our landing in this area, so we can go ahead and click launch. And now we're on our way to Mars. It's been a few years later, and we've launched our mission to Mars, and now here's the final descent stage of our, there we are, probes away. We can go outside and have a look around while our lander is landing. But this is just a flying camera. It's not like actually following the probe or anything, and it's kind of hard to find sometimes. Anyways, back inside the probe. Did we land upside down? No, I think I'm in the wrong probe. I think that's what happened. Yeah, how did that happen? Okay, we're going to go back to the control center. Hopefully it's not raining anymore. Good. Somebody did call maintenance and got that rain to stop. We go back to the big board. Go back to Victoria Crater. We should have, yeah, we do have our probe that landed there. We can connect to vehicle. All right. And just as it's landing. Perfect timing. I don't know what happened there. Somehow it seems like this game's still a little buggy in spots, but actually that's the first time I've seen it bug out too bad. So we're in our final landing phase here of where it's orienting itself, I think. Oh yes, there it is. You can see it's coming down now, flying under its own power. And did I just get an achievement called Careless? Okay. Well, there's our lander, and it's landed. So that in and of itself automatically gives us our mission complete status, because our only mission was to explore. But I'll go through this stuff here and show you kind of what it is. So this up here is like what our mission, our mission page here, and it gives us some basic information about, I guess, navigation. So any points of interest or stuff that's near us, including other rovers that we might have, but there's nothing there, or at least nothing that we can detect, because we don't have the technology yet to do that. All these little arrows you see pointing to the left and right are things that have been basically flagged by the scientists back at home for further exploration. And you can either filter it by mission, which will show you anything that's specific to your mission, or you can just say no and say, show me everything that's within, an X amount of radius. But there's, I don't think, going to be anything here that we could really investigate with any detail, at least not in this vehicle. So the miscellaneous tab, or the missions tab, miscellaneous. This is for the missions. There's no more missions assigned because our one mission was to explore this area, which we've already done just by landing here and photographing it. And we can open up the location map, and this gives us kind of like a satellite view of everything going on here. And obviously it says you are here. We are there. What it did is when the first time it landed, it actually, when I hit F, instead of putting you back into this probe here, this lander, it put me into this lander. Weird. Anyways, so that's the map view. And then you can look at like resource maps if you have them. I don't think in communication. So both of these probes have antennas, so theoretically they should be able to communicate with each other, because you can see there are two spheres of signal overlap there. So just hit escape to go back from there. Then we have our mission log, which basically just gives you a step-by-step of what you've done. Basically all it says is we've landed. That's about it. And then this is any other probes that we're connected to. So CNT is for connection. So we're connected to probe 1, which is that other probe that was over there. And it'll tell you that it is a probe 1, it is a probe. Oh, okay, then yeah, see that's probe 1 there. So we're back to probe 1, and then we go back to phenomena 1. And that's the mission page. We just close that to minimize it. We go into our camera view. So now we have little reticles. Little reticles here. We can move them back and forth, up and down. These cameras don't have zoom on them. They do have like a brightness control. If you hit this, it kind of brightens certain objects up. And sometimes if there's little rocks out there that you can't see, if you hit this button, it will make them visible, but not always. And we also have night vision. So it's not a thermal camera per se, it's just like that green night vision camera. And then we could snap a picture of that. So you just click in the center of the reticle there to capture a photo. Turn that off. And then again up here it says cameras. This is where you can cycle between the cameras. So we have the wide angle camera here. You have the telephoto camera here. Is that a Mars monster? Oh no, I think that's just the second stage of our. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's just like the parachute from our landing stage. Whoa. Yeah, that's what we're looking at there. Parachute from our landing stage. Anyways. And then if we did have any instruments on board, like the environmental analysis pack, we could access it here, or if we had more than one instrument, we could access those and then run those experiments from here. And if we had a rover that we could actually drive, then we could, actually drive the rover around. But right now we don't. Oh, the one last thing you can do is connect to the satellite that's in, like, I guess would be a synchronous orbit above you, and you can get a satellite view of where you're at in real time. So I believe we landed somewhere over yonder, and then you can center it to where you are. So we're right there. And you can really zoom down there. Probe 1 is over here. We're over here. Cool. No, actually, this really is a cool game, and I can't wait to be able to actually drive some rovers around Mars. I'm waiting to get there. Just chipping away slowly at the science, trying to make enough money to be able to afford some of that cooler stuff. But this, in essence, is the basics of the game. I think I will definitely be posting more gameplay videos as I progress through the game, and then eventually get to the manned missions to Mars, which this game does have now. I think when this game first launched, I don't know if it launched in early release with just the rovers and landers, and then it rolled out the full version with the manned missions, or if it just kind of added the manned missions later on. Either way, it has the manned missions now. Definitely look forward to checking those out. And I think you should too, if you like games like Kerbal Space Program, or if you just like science and find it interesting, or if you just like simulator games. This is definitely something I would recommend. And I'm a big simulator guy myself. I play tons of simulators, from Flight Simulator X to Sailing Simulator to Boat Simulator to whatever simulator you can think of. I've probably played it. And this is one of the better ones, I'd have to say, at least one of the more unique ones, It's definitely a unique idea to make a simulator for going to Mars. And unlike games like, what's that other game that just came out? Surviving Mars, which is more like a point-and-click strategy-based game. This is like a literal simulator where it tries to make it as real and close to life as possible, of controlling a rover and doing science on another planet, which is super cool. Anyways, this has been JP, and as I hit backspace here to go back to the control center, I will say this is JP signing off.